Okay, this is amazing towing. I just got done taking my daughter to school, and unlike most parents, when you go to school, sometimes I see a lot of parents, they just drop their kids, at the gate or just in front of the school, and I can understand because not all of us have the privilege, of actually walking, our kids into school. My daughter is about 9 years old, and so I just, took her inside. Usually I take her inside. Sometimes I sit down with her in class for a few, 5-10 minutes, depending on how soon we get to school before the school starts. So on my way back, I decided I'm going to record this short video, okay? And the topic of the video is this concept about list, okay? And I've heard for a long time that the most important thing in a business is the list, okay? Especially if you're online, okay? But even if you're not online, you have a list. You have a list of customers. And one of the mistakes most businesses make is that they don't even have a list, okay? You go to a business on a regular basis, they never think for 1 second to say, oh, thanks you for coming. By the way, do you have an email? We want to send you a thank you letter. Okay, what's your address? Okay. That's one way to develop what I'm going to refer to in this short video as building a relationship. So if you think the list is most important, right? Okay. Well, it's nothing close to what is the relationship? What is your relationship with your list? Well, so you have a list, but you don't communicate with the list. You don't send them email. You don't send them letters. Okay. And so what relationship do you have with the list? Which is actually more important than the list. Because let's say you have 10,000 people on your list. Okay. But you don't even know how of those 5 or 10,000 are responsive. You don't know which of those 5,000 or 1,000 for that matter are the most important customers. If you're not communicating with them, and if you don't have a relationship with them, then it's difficult for you to ask them for repeat business, okay? Survey them as to what they want, okay? And this concept was driven home, by one of the master, okay, out there, master marketer, okay, Dan Kennedy, in one of the illustrations that he made, okay? And if you've been a student of Dan Kennedy, you know everything he says about marketing. It's almost like gospel, okay? And so the illustration he made was that, there was this restaurant who sent out letters to his customers, okay? And you probably might have received this kind of letters before. You get letter 1, letter 2, letter 3. So this restaurateur send letters to the client and say, we want to invite you to come for a romantic dinner with your spouse, okay? And, in the dinner you get, a 3-course meal, and you get this and you get that, okay? So it sends out the letter, okay? And so some of the people that came were few, okay? The ones that didn't show up, he sent them another letter, okay? So by the time they get 1, 2, 3 letters, okay, the response rate increases because letter 1 will build a relationship, okay? The second letter will build another relationship, and the third letter, okay, if you've gotten 2 letters and you haven't responded, you got a third letter, you will start to say to yourself, wait a minute, let me find out what this guy is up to, okay? And that's the kind of relationship that you really want to cultivate. Another marketer, okay, they made something profound, to me was Jeff Walker, okay? And he asked the question, how often do you communicate with your list? Okay? Because you could have a list, if you don't communicate with them, it's tough to build a relationship. And so I always, people always wonder, well, maybe you're sending too much information to your list or you're bothering them. According to Jeff, he says, look, if you're sending something of value to your list, okay, if they open your mail and they found something of value, in form of PDF, video or information that just says, you know what, I thought about you, I wanted to send you this. Even if you're doing 3 times a day, it's not a bother to them. And that's what I find out. Okay, so when you look at the least relationship, okay, the relationship you have with your least, you could compare it to human relationship. Okay, for example, if you met a girl somewhere, okay, and you guys chatted for a little bit, okay, you develop just a tiny little relationship just from exchanging pleasantries and saying hi, even if you didn't exchange phone numbers. You have a tiny little relationship with that person, right? Whether it's a girl or a guy. Now, imagine you meet this same person 2-3 months later in a gathering where everybody is almost like a stranger. But the fact that you had some pleasant exchange with that person, a girl or a guy, about 2-3 months ago, and you said hi to each other, you discussed for a few minutes, okay, it's a lot easier for you to communicate that with that person right now because you had a previous relationship. That's the way you want to look at your list, okay? So don't just accumulate lists, right? Communicate with that list. Send them something of value, okay? Tell them how valuable they are to you. Just send them a thank you out of the blue, okay? And that's how you actually develop a relationship. So don't be afraid to communicate with your list, okay? And there's a saying, you know, like I always end my video, okay, there's a saying that goes like this, okay? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek, right? The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Because some of us are always afraid to email our list because it's like, well, I don't have anything to tell them, or maybe I'm bothering them. Or I actually had somebody tell me that, well, if you keep sending them information, they're not going to open your mail. Well, why wouldn't they open my mail? It's like, I mean, if you look at your list, like, you know, as your friend, okay, and you send your friend a letter, I mean, why wouldn't your friend open the letter, especially if the letter is valuable to both of you or to them, okay? So you always look for what can I send to my list that is of value to them, okay? Even without trying to sell them something all the time, okay? So when you do send them something, okay, that they could buy from you, they're not going to look at it as, well, all this person wants is for me to buy, okay? So you need to send them something of value on a regular basis. So when they hear from you and you offer something for them to buy, they'll be glad to buy from you, okay? This is amazing toying. Give me your comments below, okay? Let's discuss it, okay? How do you use your list, okay? How many times do you communicate with your list, okay? Let's have different views out there and tell us, you know, what your reaction is or what your least reaction is, okay? Thank you. This is amazing toying, and I'm checking out. I just got back. If you notice, you know, my car is still running, but I'm stationary right now because I'm sitting in front of my house, okay? So I'm going to go back to my home office and maybe do some work today. It's Friday. Actually, I don't know. It's a casual Friday, I would say. Okay, and usually Friday, I don't like to do a lot. Okay, 4 days, it's a lot of days. I like 3-day weekends. I hope you do the same, okay? See you guys. Hope you have a nice weekend. Thank you. Bye.